and welcome back to Lady Jane Books. Today I have a Kindle Book Haul. We're just going to pretend that I definitely did not say that I was going on a 2021 book buying ban. We're just going to pretend that never happened. Lady Jane never said that because obviously I cannot control myself when it comes to the sales section of Kindle. I've been reading more on my Kindle a lot lately. And I know I shouldn't do it, but every single day I check the deal of the day section and I always just kind of get sucked into buying something. So I wanted to share some of my March purchases with you, dear viewer. So let's get started. The first Kindle book that I purchased recently is The Other Mrs. by Mary Kubica. One of my favorite booktubers, Kayla Lenzen, said that this is one of her favorite books. So when I saw it on the sale section, you know I had to click buy. Kayla Lenzen has talked about this book numerous times on her channel, so I'm super excited that I have a copy now. The Other Mrs. by Mary Kubica is a psychological thriller. A sweet young couple moves into a new small town in Maine, and soon their neighbor ends up dead. This book has been described as very twisty and psychological, so I'm really excited for this, and if Kayla Lenzen says it's good, then you know it's gonna be good. So I'm super excited that I purchased The Other Mrs. by Mary Kubica. The next book that I purchased is TheOne by John Mars. I believe this one is kind of a sci-fi suspense mystery novel. I'm not sure exactly what genre it belongs in. I don't know if it's a contemporary or dystopian, but the premise sounds great anyway. In this novel, a company has claimed to find your match. That's right, they have identified the soulmate gene. All it takes is a quick DNA swab test and you are on your way to finding your soulmate. This sounds great, doesn't it? Finding your soulmate has never been easier. But the consequences of this discovery are actually disastrous. I think this is a really interesting concept, and I don't read that many sci-fi books, so I was really intrigued by this one. I've seen this one on BookTube somewhere, and the person who was reviewing it was raving about it, and I love this idea of science intermingling with love and seeing how that destroys present relationships and future relationships and past relationships. I think that's incredibly interesting. So I'm excited to read TheOne by John Mars. The next book that I purchased is Followers by Megan Angelo. I believe that this book is a dystopian novel. I don't know too much about this, to be honest. This was an impulse buy. It was a cover buy, to be completely frank. I believe it has something to do with social media, and these two girls are kind of trudging along life and they want to find out how to really make it big onto social media, but their methods might be a little bit nefarious. I believe there's also the theme of being live on camera for 24/7, which kind of reminds me of The Circle, if you've ever saw that film with Emma Watson. But I think there's a dark twist to it because the corporation who wants this influencer to go live 24/7 is not the best, and there's some ethics issues, and I don't know if any of that's accurate whatsoever, but I think this might be a really, really interesting read, especially considering how much we are on social media today. So I purchased Followers by Megan Angelo. The next book that I purchased is Dear Wife by Kimberly Bell. This is a domestic thriller. This book is about a woman who leaves her entire life with her abusive husband far behind her. And everything goes according to plan until she's reported missing and the police get involved. This book reminds me of Behind Closed Doors by B.A. Paris, which is one of my favorite books. I'm really interested in this dynamic between an abusive husband and the wife that decides to flee, and then the police are trying to find out what happened to her, and there are secrets, and there might be a setup. I love domestic thrillers like that, so I'm super, super excited about Dear Wife by Kimberly Bell. The next book that I purchased is Clap When You Land by Elizabeth Acevedo. This book is actually written in verse. I don't know too much about this one. I know it was very popular a few months back, and it has to do with two girls in separate parts of the world who lose their father in a plane accident. And the aftermath of that can be devastating for both families. This one sounds like it's going to be incredibly touching. It's going to be very sad, very emotional. Perhaps it's more of a coming of age type of story. But I have heard nothing but great reviews about it. So I'm super excited that I purchased Clap When You Land by Elizabeth Acevedo. The next book that I purchased is The Guest List by Lucy Foley. This is actually one of my backup TBR books for March, and I'm kind of hoping that I get to it because it sounds really good. The Guest List by Lucy Foley was actually one of the Goodreads Choice Awards winner of 2020. The Guest List takes place on an island off of Ireland. There is a gorgeous wedding to be held. The dress is designer, the location is exclusive, everything is top tier for this perfect wedding day. And everything is going according to plan until the body shows up. I've mentioned recently that I'm on a big Agatha Christie kick. I've been watching every episode of Poirot starring David Suchet. And now that I've completed that, I've actually moved on to Agatha Christie's Marple, which follows the adventures of Miss Marple as well. So I'm in a big murder mystery whodunit reading mood lately. So I think this is going to be absolutely perfect. I think it's one of these, the guests for the wedding come to this remote island and everybody has an alibi, so who could have murdered the person at the wedding? It sounds so good. So hopefully I get to The Guest List by Lucy Foley really soon. The next book that I purchased is The Wives by Taryn Fisher. I have heard about Taryn Fisher's books through Books Yada Yada, I believe. I believe she's been reading a couple of them and she gave really good reviews. Speaking of which, you should definitely go check out Books Yada Yada's channel. She has some of the funniest outtakes and she gives really, really thoughtful reviews. And she's always reading very, very diverse and different types of books. So definitely go check out her channel. I'm going to link her in the description box below. Thursday has met the perfect man, and she's crazy about him. She is so in love with him that she doesn't mind that he has 2 other wives. They say love is blind, and Tuesday does not care about the other wives until she finds something horrific. I really don't want to know too much about this because I don't like knowing a lot about thrillers before I go into them. So this sounds fantastic. I haven't read anything about people who are married to multiple people or anything like that. So I'm really, really intrigued by this type of arc and storyline. And I'm really, really interested about a woman who's so in love with her husband, she overlooks all of these flaws until she can't overlook them anymore. It sounds like it's going to be very interesting and very immersive. So that is The Wives by Taryn Fisher. And the final book that I purchased is No Exit by Taylor Adams. I've actually already read this book and it's in my latest wrap-up video, which I will link in the description box if you want to hear more of my thoughts on it. But basically, this is an action-packed thriller. Darby is on her way to visit her sick mother when she is caught in a snowstorm. She has no choice but to take shelter in a rest stop and wait for the storm to clear. There she finds a group of friendly faces. There's electricity, coffee, and a warm place to be. So everything is perfectly safe. Or so Darby thought. Soon, Darby finds a child's hand in the back of one of the cars parked outside. And she realizes they may not be as safe as she thought. This was so good. And again, if you want to hear more of my thoughts, definitely go check out my February wrap-up. Oh my gosh, it was so good. I'm incredibly glad that I purchased No Exit by Taylor Adams. And that's all I have for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. We're just gonna pretend that I did not say I was going on a 2021 book buying ban. We're just gonna pretend that never happened. What no buy? I didn't say no buy. What? What? My eyes twitching. Ooh. Oh, come on, Jane. Oh, my eye is twitching. Woo. Twitchy, twitchy, twitchy. I wonder if anyone has seen me through my windows doing these thumbnail poses and are like, is she okay? Because literally I sit here for like a half an hour and I just go, ooh, Vogue, yes. I don't do that. Ooh, did you hear that crack? My sternum just cracked. Booktube is no joke, y'all. Take care, this is dangerous. Kayla Lenzen has talked about this book several times during her videos. Kayla Lenzen's talked about this video countless times. Video? No, she talks about the book, Jane, not the video. She hasn't even seen the video until she's seen this video. Okay. This book has been described as very twisty and creepy and confusing, so it sounds like a lot of fun for me. So I'm super excited to have purchased The Other Mrs. I almost said The Other Mrs. by Kayla Lenzen. So I'm super excited that I purchased The Other Mrs. I did it again, by Kayla Lenzen. Oops. I believe that this one's a little bit like a sci-fi, fantasy, dystopian type of... That's right, they have identified the gene that... The next book that I purchased is Followers by Megan Angelo. Angelo? Angelo Jane. Angelo, really? Jello. Oh, now I want Jello. The next book that I purchased is Dear Wife. By who? Kimberly Bell. That's who, Jane. Okay. You go, Jane. The next book that I purchased is... What? This one gives me the same vibes as one of my favorite books of last year. What was my favorite book of last year, Jane? So long ago. It was like 3 months ago, Jane. The next book that I purchased is Clap While You Land? Yeah, Clap When You Land, Jane. This sounds like a really good whodunit type of mystery. I've mentioned before that I'm on a big Hercule Poirot. Hercule Poirot. This was so good. Again, if you want to hear more of my thoughts, go check out my... What's January? February. I read in February because we're in March now, Jane. Okay. No buy? What no buy? I don't remember a no buy. So goofy.